This week's first impressions video is another gigantic disappointment. This week we're looking at We Are Football 2024, a football management game, and it is woefully lacking in features, accessibility, and option customization. The game starts by showing you this screen, and then there is no options available until you actually load into the game. This is a massive red flag for me whenever I open a game like this, because it really shows that they just don't care about the player. The music is incredibly loud, and until you get into the game to adjust the volume, you only have an on or off button at the top here. That's an issue because the game is incredibly loud upon startup, and even then, once you've got into the options, because it's done via save game and not just by the open sequence, it resets back to full volume again. It's awful. I don't know why they don't have an option on this screen. They need it on this screen and they just don't have it. So that's a massive big red flag from the get-go. The best way I can describe this game is that it is a lot of polish with no substance. It's a very, very shallow game. It is trying to be something it's not, and it focuses all of its resources on pointless filler without actually really allowing you to get into the game. And the options and the playability that they've added in, if you press the wrong button, you are screwed and you either have to start again or you've just got to wait for the match in question to be over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the game. I'm going to show you the options, and then I will go through a new player selection, and then we'll go into the actual game of substances. And the reason why I want to go into new player selection is because there is a lot of options to go through, and not all of them are good, and a lot of them are not needed to be there. Once you finally make it into the options menu, it doesn't really help you much because there's not a lot here. Now, this is largely a text-based game, but unfortunately, the options that you choose, especially when you're starting in, don't really show you the impact of what it's going to do to your CPU and your GPU. Games like Pro Basketball Manager and Football Manager do show you this. So if you load in more teams, it will show you how much memory you're going to be using and how much the game's going to struggle and load times and all that. And this just doesn't bother with that, which is a massive problem. Outside of that, what you do get here is you've got additional mouse buttons. You can change the difficulty setting from here once you've started in. You've got your budget that you can change. So all of these are options that you get to choose through when you start, and it's nice that you can change these once you're in the game. One of the things that you're going to want to look at changing straight away is the tooltips. I don't know why there's a delayed option there, but it's really not helpful because it's really delayed and it makes you think like it's broken. Text speed slow is fine. Speed weekly possession very fast is good. Salary period yearly is fine. Your rating system 1 to 6 is okay. Your voice output, player agent and halftime is fine. Your halftime speech is automatic, or you can, go for whatever here. I've not actually heard any speech yet. You've got your random generator. You can add new players. You can retire from the game. You've got all your different gameplay options here. This is the best part of the menu because it allows you to customize the game to your desires, which is good. However, where it lets itself down is here, because again, the music is the biggest problem. I'm going to keep going on about it because it's awful. It starts up here and it is so incredibly loud at halfway that you have to turn it all the way down just to make it sort of viable. Now on OBS, I can have further control over that, and I can control it for you guys. It is worth noting that you've got to turn it down very, very low for it to be a sustainable volume to stop you from going deaf, because it is so incredibly loud and it's the same song and it just repeats over and over again. You've got particle quality and you've got AA here. You've got your rendering resolution. You've got bloom and supporters. And again, I don't expect a huge amount on this screen or on any screen because it is largely text-based. It's very pretty text-based, but it is largely text-based. You've got your save game, your load game, your help screen. Because they don't have a tutorial, you have to click on each one to see what each is, and it is a lot of text to go through. You've got a feedback page here, so you can send in a feedback of what you think and what you like and stuff. Honestly, I'm not overly impressed so far, and then you can quit the game from here as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the startup selection. There are a lot of options here that they could just cut out. It is very long-winded, and some of the options are really nice that they've got them. Others are just not wanted or needed at all. So, for example, you can choose men or women's football, which I find fantastic. And then we go to our first option, which doesn't really make any sense. I don't know whether it's because they're going to be adding a modded database or more DLC databases or what, but you've got the basic database here, and that's all you can sort of choose. If you've only got the one database, why are you making me select it? Just let me choose men's football and move on. I don't understand. And as you can see from here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages to go through before you can even start playing the game. Once you get through that, you can then choose and add, take off your teams of what you want. So as you can see here, we've got 38 countries, 67 leagues, recommended leagues 39, and occupancy. What it doesn't show you is how much time this is going to take for loading. You can't add Africa yet, you can't add Australia, and you can't add North America just yet. So again, these are something to take into mind. You can deselect and reselect countries individually if you so desire. So this is a nice bit, but it just more feedback, more information for the player when they're starting up, so they know whether they're making the right choice or not, depending on how many countries are available and how long that's going to cause for loading. Then the next page is a little bit of a weird one because I can't work out from this whether this is co-op or online. I think it's co-op. I think it's in-person co-op. It's couch co-op, and that is wild to me that they've got this in. I don't know whether it's a good thing. I don't know whether it's obsolete, but it's wired that you can have multiple players on this. It's kind of interesting, but also kind of obsolete. I can't imagine a number of players are going to want to sit around a PC and play this with each other. I could be wrong. I just don't see it. Then you've got your player data. Now, interestingly enough, with this one, they have a play with family feature, and what that means is you can add your family members in. Now, what is nice is that they do allow you to keep all of your previous information from existing managers. That's a really good thing. That does save a lot of time, but there are some options that don't get carried across with that same manager, so do be aware of that when you're starting a new game. If you want to use the same details to save time, and trust me, get it, then you are going to have to take note of that as well. The more skills you've got, I assume you can maybe increase depending on what level you are, but obviously I haven't played that much of this. This is still very much first impressions. You get nationality and any languages that you speak there, which can open up more jobs to you and stuff like that. Next, we come to the difficulty stage. And this is really nice on normal. You've got everything set up at normal, and you can change it to huge or none, etc. You can, give yourself less budget or higher, and it's really customizable, and that is good. I like that. This is a good option. However, next is where it tends to go a little bit downhill. On this screen, this is where I told you before that one of the options isn't saved across. It defaults to Germany, which is great if you know anything about Germany. I don't. Do make sure you switch to England from there, and then you've got your different sort of club selection that you can go for. Now, this is different from other manager games that I've done because they kind of merge them all together, whereas this, you just choose one and stick to it. So you've got club creation, you've got club selection, you've got career, European Championship, and World Cup. Honestly, I would probably select club selection here. I chose career and immediately regretted my choice. The reason why I regretted my choice is because when you hit play career, you have to do an interview. Not only is it an interview, it's a timed interview. And I don't know anything about football. I just thought it was going to be like, oh, here's some lower teams or whatever, and go from there. But no, you have to answer questions in a time frame and hope for the best. So we're just going to go through here. There's 13 questions. 13. I don't know why they do this. I don't know if anybody is actually going to enjoy this aspect of it and take it seriously. I do not. But there you go. So they'll enter it, and then they'll find the perfect club for you, and you get 3. Now, when I did this on my normal save, I ended up with Crawley. But here we've got Sutton, Swindon, and Walsall. Again, if I was to play this for the first time over again, I would probably just go club selection, choose a club that I like or know, or that is local to me because I don't know a lot about football, and go from there. This adds a nice challenge, but I feel like you could probably take the interview process out of it, and just going off of the difficulty that you've selected, go, okay, they're going for a normal. We'll choose like 3 clubs from a, 3rd division or a 2nd division team and go from there. Once you've got those 3 teams there, you can then choose what team you want out of those 3. You can either accept one of them, decline all 3 of them, and just go to the job market, or go through them whichever you want. This is where it gets really, really long-winded. So you have this screen where you can go to the stadium view, you can view the grounds, go to play the film here, you can look at the general, and you've got a lot of information here that you're going to see anyway. It's just an extra screen, and this is a theme that is played throughout this entire game. It's just extra screens that you don't really need, that just waste your time. Finally is this screen. Now, when I first played, I was in the Germany set, and this button here was actually grayed out, and I could hit it, but I didn't know I could hit it, but it was grayed out. So I just this screen here for ages, waiting for the preparation to finish, not knowing that I could just instantly click. And again, the amount of time it didn't take to set up, why not just load me through? I don't understand why I have to do another screen. It's just more time wasting. Finally, you've got your action points. Now, I have no idea what these do. I have not worked out how to use them yet. I can't see where to spend them, and they just, like, they don't really do anything. There's one time where I've seen to spend them, and that's on this screen here where you can use your action points. But then it warns you and tells you, do you really want to? And then I haven't seen it on a screen anywhere else ever. Now, interestingly enough, depending on what you answer and what teams you get a higher budget. Your board and last year always start on 82, which doesn't really seem to make much, but then you can increase it or decrease it with the next masses of screens that you've got to go through. You can lower or increase your board objectives here and your budgets and everything, and you can, you know, perform a financial calculation to get more money from the TV, etc. You've got your kits. There is a lot here before you even start playing the game. So on your kits, you can change the color. It is worth noting that if you go to black on them, it doesn't matter what you move here, which is fair. I don't know why they don't just have a typical color gouge, maybe, as opposed to having to have the 3 bars. Again, it's so much different screens to press that it's just overly complicated. It's trying to be something it's not, and I'm really not a fan, if I'm honest. It's just kind of annoying. Not to mention the fact that you don't actually see a lot of what is going on here. You have to click on them in order to see the color of the stripes and things like that. So there's a lot to take in. Once you've got your kit design done, you can move on, and then you have your expectations and what you want to do. And this is where you can increase the board, but no matter what I did, it didn't really affect the team. So it's kind of, again, somewhat pointless. Whereas here, if depending on what you choose, you can gain popularity with attacking football and lose it with, you know, must be hard to score against us or whatever, which doesn't make sense. Why is it that every team increases when you play attacking football? It doesn't make sense. It's not realistic if it's the same stat that increases. You want board popularity, you're just going to go with attacking football. It's again, it's just another waste of time, honestly. Finally, you've got your shirt numbers, which you can change as you so desire, and then you load into the game, and this is where you become building manager rather than game manager. On this screen, you can change your finance reports, you can put your focus in and stuff. You can, you know, additionally boost your player with more of these points, and again, it will warn you and doesn't really seem worth it very early on. You'd rather save it until you get a young player or something like that. And you can change your thingy here. You've got these pop-out screens which you can add stuff to, but I don't think I've ever used these pop-out screens ever. They're just kind of there and in the way. On your home screen, this is what I mean by there's so much fluff down here. You've got first team, reserve team, youth, medical department, transfers, organization, HR, infrastructure, finances, sponsors, marketing, board, supporters, assistants, statistics, quick search, achievements, and then your settings button. Honestly, you could really sort of condense all this down. You could change your reserve team and your first team into just a squad button, almost like another game that does it. Football Manager does like that. Same with your medical department and your staffers and your assistants. They could be put together. Your HR, infrastructure, and finances and sponsors could all be put together, like with your marketing and stuff. Like, it's just extra bits and pieces that just aren't needed to be separate and just makes it so much more difficult to do. Once you've done that, though, you can check your calendar here. You've got your annual calendar. You can see what's going on. You can, you know, see what's happening and what training, and then you go forward and you get this weekly planning. You have to plan these each week, and some of them make sense to have, others not so much. What I mean by that is you put them in, and then you get a screen saying that it's happened, but nothing more. Just have it happen. Other games just have it happen. Why do I have to plan my week? Just have it all be set there, and then make it an event. Like, this is just more clicking and less time doing what I want to do, which is playing the game of football. And again, it's very shallow. Like, you've got, once you've got your looking for a sponsor, then you After that, you get ones that come up that are appointments. Nothing happens on them. You just get a message at the bottom saying whether they're happy with you or they're not. But you still got to schedule them in. It's like the corporate world of having meetings for a meeting's sake, or having meetings that could have been an email. It's very much that sort of a feeling. Also, it constantly badgers you to do sport. No reason for it. You're a manager. I generally select not a coach, so I don't be active when I do this, but it still wants you to do sport every week, and I just generally click off of it until it comes up with a you need to. Like, the game actively forces you to do sport, which is weird and strange. You can assign scouting jobs and stuff from this as well, and you can put, reminder and personal focus in. And then as you skip forward, you can see the training schedule here and the groups, and you can go into these. And I like the fact that you can increase it or you can decrease it, depending on what you want and need to do. Save it week, you can do season planning. Like, there is a lot here for this, and this is fine. It's the previous page and how often you have to do it and how much time you spend doing it that is my problem. That's what I have an issue with. Then you speed through the week and you will set the prices, and you can see here how happy they are. Get down to a 31, and you can't change the VIP boxes and you can't change the standing places. I don't know why. I don't know if you're able to unlock that later on, but at the minute, that's what you can do. And then again, you'll speed through this. You'll get your cup here. You can speed through that if you so desire as well. No, I don't want to watch them all because it takes forever. You'll get your newspaper articles that come through here, and this is where you would see your actions happening. So if you booked a training camp or whatever, you would have that come up as well. You've got your season tickets here. We will up that. I think it's 23%. There you go. Keep the fans happy. I don't know why there's carrots here. I haven't worked out why there's carrots there. I don't understand. Like, there's a lot about this game that just makes no sense at all whatsoever. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to speed through, and then when we get to our first game, I will show you everything that you can do. Right, so what I actually did was I loaded into the game before because I remembered how long it's going to take me to get to that first game, and I didn't want to be here all night. So when you come to your next battle, you can see here that we are Crawley and we're against Milton Keynes. We are ranked 24th, they are ranked 5th. We have not won many matches, and as you can see, our team is fairly low rated. Here you have your reserves, you have your subs, and then you've got your first team here. You can change your formation down here to whatever you want, and you can see how it affects the team and what they like and what they don't like, and you can see the team opposites points as well. What is nice is that you can pull anybody from here, so you can go for your right middle, and you can change it here, and you will see the difference in stats and how it affects the team. And this is a really nice way of setting up your team to begin with. Outside of that, you can go for a rule-based lineup, you can delete the lineup, you can delegate team seats and leave them all on auto and all that good stuff. You can show the opponent squad, and you can do the tactical standing opponent as well. You've got your team comparison here and your values here. This is all really good information, but ultimately doesn't really seem to do a lot, because as long as they have got much higher stats, they're going to win. There's not really a lot you can do about that from what I've seen. I've played 2 matches so far. No matter how I change tactics, doesn't matter how I do substitutes and stuff, you just get railroaded, which is to be expected when you're in the lower divisions. You've got another screen here which shows you've got your counter-attack and all your different tactics down here. You've got your skills, and you can choose what style you go with here as well. You've got your direct offensive football, or your offensive, or you can go for a controlled, and you can change your play style here and how that really works. You got your assistant manager to manage tactics on auto, and then here, if you're at home, you can do sneaky stuff. You can have the grass sprinklers and the page streaker and stuff. You can do some really underhanded tactics for some reason. Why they would include that, I don't know. For a bit of fun, maybe. You can change how much your wing play goes and stuff, and you can sort of muck all that around and see what's going to happen there. You can change the day or night, and you've got all these different things that you can change, which will have an effect on the match overall. And then here you'll see the team lineup and their stats versus yours. So as you can see, these guys are much higher rated. You can see the kit here, kit I'm in and what kit they're in. Again, it's so many screens. Just like, this could have all been on the original tactics screen, right? I don't need to see their anger and anything like that. Like, this could have all been on 2 screens ago. I shouldn't need 3 screens to be able to start playing. Now, interestingly enough, on here, you do get this screen on the actual playing screen, right? So when you go here, You get it down here, but what I've noticed is that it doesn't stay in place. Depending on where this is, depends where that is, and it will just go back. I noticed it when I was playing before. Once I had hit start, it just keeps moving back to neutral, which was really, really annoying. Another thing to note is on the speed. If you have it ultra fast, you won't have time to pause it or do anything. You'll just be a bystander. You literally just watch it simulate. There's nothing you can do. And I feel like, yes, it's super fast, but there should be a way that you can pause it outside of having to make your mouse here in time from the scenes that happen. Other important information on here is you can see your yellow cards, you can see when they happened, and then you will get your cutscenes. Now, I will say the graphics of the cutscenes are actually really good. They remind me of an old school FIFA game when you actually used to play. Like, they're not bad graphics. What I will say is sometimes the goals and stuff can take a while to load and they can sort of lag out a bit, but on the whole they're not too bad. Like this bit of the game, the main meat of the game, you would think is actually fairly good, although like I say, it does sort of go very one-sided very quickly, and it does feel like nothing you're going to do is going to matter. If you're on a low team, you are going to have low scores and low performance. There's nothing you can do about that. You just got to sit and sort of accept it. You can change all your tactics all you want, but they are just going to railroad you. Some would say that is where the skill of being a football manager comes from, but until you learn all of the intricacies and, you know, really get into grooves with how your team performs, it's not going to matter. A lot of the time, you watch these replays and you're like, what on earth was that? What are your team doing? And then you remember that you're actually fairly low rated. A lot of things I see with the game is a lot of these replays are counter-attacks on my part. And that's an issue, because that's clearly an issue with the attacking. They're not quick at regaining the ball or whatever. And then once you get to your half-time, you can see and you can change and you can do your talks and all that sort of normal stuff that you get with the football manager. Overall, this game is okay, but it's not up to the standard that it is trying to portray. It looks very pretty. It's trying to be very deep, but on the whole, there's just too many options to go through to get to the part of the game I want to play. I don't care about personal goals. I don't care about, you know, setting up appointments that I don't have any interjection over. It's not like I get to interview with them and choose options and stuff. You don't get any of that. The only interview you have is at the very beginning of the game when you go in career mode. And it just ruins the experience because it's so many more clicks than you need. And that is a very overarching sense with this entire game. It's worth a punt. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing either. This did come out yesterday, so if you want to pick it up, it is on Steam. I personally wouldn't recommend this game. I would just stick with Football Manager or other management sims out there like Pro Basketball Manager that I've played that are very good and a lot simpler and more condensed. Like, this is trying to be more complex and show that it is deeper than it actually is. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.